just realized it's Friday the 13th. Seems like just last week we had a Friday the 13th, but I guess that was last year. And it's a fitting Friday the 13th as we go into the weekend, and you have the tribute that's paid yearly to the private collection agency. It has governmental power, but it collects money for the private Federal Reserve. So the collection agency for the private Federal Reserve, none of the money goes to run the country. It goes to siphon off the economy to the foreign mega banks and to pay for the interest that we pay the private banks to be able to even have money. Notice that money in your wallet says Federal Reserve note, not U.S. note. And in that is the heart of the globalist total control over society, at least the level of economics. And they're trying to mop up the few little areas of resistance now. Anybody with their own swap meet or garage sale or selling vegetables or fruits on the side of the street. It is really amazing to watch the environmental police fanning out, harassing the population. We're going to have open phones today. Open phones throughout the full 3 hours. And so I will give you the toll-free number to join us after the break. And you are welcomed and encouraged to join us on any of the issues that are out there, on any of the different big developments that are unfolding. And I will briefly get into some of those big stories on the other side. The Washington Post and the Daily Mail and others are reporting that Viking robot found life on Mars in 1976. They've now tested what they believe were bacteria for the last 3 decades. I guess that's 36 years, technically. And they are now saying they're 99% sure that it is primitive bacteria. Now, the problem is this is coming from a government that has been caught lying so much, you can't believe a word comes out of their mouth. This could be fiction like Barzoom, you know, the guy that wrote the Tarzan, King of the Apes books, also wrote the John Carter books and other really good fiction. And you know, is this just more fiction, or are there floating cities on Barzoom? Undoubtedly, Mars has water. It has a northern and southern ice cap. And undoubtedly, Martian rocks do rain down on the Earth that when larger meteors hit Mars. And a lot of scientists believe in the theory of space seeding for life. That's what my little video piece, Secrets of Prometheus, leaked is about. It's about the elite believing that space aliens or gods created the planet. Doesn't mean I believe that. I'm saying that's what the Illuminati's deepest belief is. That's why I made that video that has 400,000 views. Then we also aired to 3 million listeners and viewers here on the radio show. But if you missed it, it's one of the better research pieces we've done. Aaron put about a week's work of work into it. And it is out there for everybody to see, but we'll be talking about that. Also, record numbers of earthquakes taking place. I'm going to break that down early in the hour. Gold resumes surge as new QE rumor is back. North Korea, the Stalinist state, couldn't get their precious little rocket. They're trying to menace everyone off the ground with that child dictator piece of trash over there. More government scum I'm supposed to worship. He's got a fancy hat with badges. I mean, I need to bow down to him. It is Friday the 13th, 2012, and we're going to be live here for the next 3 hours. I will be back this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time with a live Sunday transmission. Also, I got to say it, the investigative reports that my crew is putting together for the radio and for the nightly news, everything we're doing, our team on the ground in Georgia with the suspicious death under Agenda 21 in the seizure of homes for a green space, using zoning to harass people into oblivion, is wild. Our crew tried to go in the city council peacefully, public building, marked as public, and were told by police they couldn't go in. And they are back there today demanding to see the law that someone in a uniform just says you can't enter the city council to try to go to some of the offices and attempt to talk to people. And I see this all over the country now. I saw it with the Federal Reserve a few years ago in Kansas City. I had sent Aaron Dykes and Rob Jacobson to Kansas City to interview William K. Black, the former top federal regulator of the SNL scandals, who sent a bunch of people to prison. We were there to interview Professor Black. And they're driving. They had a taxi cab taking them around back to the airport. And they noticed the Federal Reserve building. And they said, let's pull over and get some B-roll. And so they decide about a half mile away, we've shown you the Google Maps on air, to go to the World War I Memorial and shoot some footage of that. And they're up on the parapet area. It's built like a castle. They're at the World War I Memorial, the National World War I Memorial. It's in Kansas City. And they're shooting the video of the Federal Reserve on federal property, well, private property, but claiming it's federal, far away, totally separate from the city park. And here come security guards posing as federal law enforcement with firearms. And they demanded to see their ID. They said, I don't have to show it to you. They put their hands on their guns. They say, you better. I can have a citizen's arrest. Well, of course a security guard has a citizen's arrest power. You have a citizen's arrest power. And quite frankly, and by the way, this is already on the books. They're making a big deal in Indiana about the governor, supporting, or the legislature, passing a bill where you can resist a police officer who is engaged in unlawful activity with lethal force. You don't need to pass a law to say that. That's already on the books in every state. We've had constitutional lawyers on to go over that. It's just like when the state of Texas tried to pass a law saying the TSA can't grope people's children or adults, and if you touch the genitals, it is a felony. Well, it's already a felony. They're not even sworn peace officers. If a peace officer did that, they would go to jail if there wasn't probable cause or an emergency situation. That is the essence of martial law, when the normal Constitution is suspended. And that's what they've done, is a soft suspension of the Bill of Rights and Constitution. But I'm digressing. The point is that there's already laws against doing that to people. That's why courthouses all over the country that have put in naked body scanners, lawyers have pointed out in Colorado and in Florida and other places, hey, it's pedophilia for you to do this to under 18. You can try to make an adult consent to go into the public building, and even that's unconstitutional, but you better stop. The state attorneys and others told them, do not touch the genitals, do not touch it on the outside or the inside of under 18s. Do not do it. And that was in the Denver Post last year, and it's also been in the Miami Herald, that in Florida and Colorado they've stopped doing that because they understand it's illegal. I mean, just because somebody's in a uniform and they show up and pull a gun out and say they're going to kill you, you have a right to defend yourself. And that's the essence of tyranny. When people just say, I have a uniform, or I'm from the government, you must do what I say. And there are my reporters, polite. Darren McBreen in a suit, very gentlemanly. Marcos, very gentlemanly, very polite. And they're walking up to the city council building, and 3 cop cars pull up, jump out, get in their face, and say, you're not going in there. They say, you're not, and by the way, turn your cameras off. And my reporter said no to that. But the point is, well, where's the law, officer? You see, police will arrest you, they say, for not following an officer's order. It's a lawful order. And a lawful order is you are recklessly driving, pull over. All of these laws pulling you over are done in the name of an emergency. But the essence of what's wrong with our country and what's brought every other country that's gone into tyranny to its knees and into all the horrors that come with tyranny and oppression and despotism and out-of-control government. It's people just saying, I've got a uniform and a badge, or I'm a bureaucrat, and I say you can't enter the building. And then you're faced with people with guns who are doing something that is illegal. They are blocking your access to a public building. They are blocking the press. They are blocking you from your basic rights, and it is outrageous, and they're so comfortable with it. And the police officers say to my crew, and they have it all on tape, we're going to get back tonight, and we'll have it for you on Monday, you know, the high def. We had some live feeds via Skype on the ground of some of this yesterday on air. And there are my reporters having to confront officers who say on tape, I'm just following orders, like it's okay. So there's some city council people who don't want the media coming in so that you can get that 60 minutes moment where you walk in and say, we'd like to talk to the mayor, we'd like to talk to the head of city zoning, we'd like documents on this Agenda 21 land you were trying to take. That's what they say in the documents. We'd like to talk about it. And to have them say, no, we're not talking to you. Or we'd like to go in and see the city records, which you're supposed to do by law. You know, we'd like to go in and do a records request. And they say no. Well, you might as well be in North Korea, where the third generational dictator wears a little uniform. I mean, he's a guy that reportedly lays around all day and watches television and couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag, and you know, went to school in Switzerland, and he just arrives and is the supreme ruler as his whole country collapses, and they can't even get a 1950s era rocket off the ground as to show off and menace everyone into threatening to get more international aid and money. And they are now threatening to detonate an atomic bomb to show everybody how powerful the new leader is. I mean, that's all government is. It's an exercise of power. When the TSA sticks their hands down your pants, which they do, when they grope your daughter in front of you, it's an exercise of raw power, just like that pathetic scumbag. I mean, I was looking at photos that North Korea itself has released of just the little kids, they call them orphanages, and they just put them in beds to starve to death. That's what the state delivers. Absolute hell on earth. And it's now delivering it here in my country. Agenda 21 is in control to a great extent of the town I live in. I'm under UN regulations. They admit it's UN regulations. The public schools are under UNESCO UN regulations. Even private schools that are accredited give their children packets telling you how wonderful Michelle Obama is and how she cares about you and how she's going to tell you what to eat. I mean, you're not supposed to have the dear leader's wife in propaganda to your kids. This is all the trappings of a country hurtling into despotism. And we're in a depression. The economy is slowly shutting down. They're devaluing the currency. All of this is happening. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to open the phones up first for the rest of the hour. And then, in the second hour, I will begin getting into the massive news. U.S. troops to have supervision as Pentagon orders electronic contact lenses that let them see through drones flying overhead. That's going to be the cybernetic system. I'm going to talk about that. Radar Online, Radar Magazine, makes fun of conservative groups that don't like a new HBO show that shows children doing things that I won't even post on my website, even though it's news. It is 5-year-old girls performing artificial oral sex on giant sex toys. See how they push the line on you? And people are like, what's the point of that? It's all psychological warfare. That's what the TSA is doing this to your children's about. That's what this is about. That's what all the violence, it's all meant on record to stunt your conscience, to stunt your mind to where you don't recognize corruption anymore. I mean, they come out in the news and they give children vaccines without parental consent now. Totally illegal. They just do it. California actually passes a law saying they can do it. It's still illegal. Pass a law saying blacks are slaves. Still illegal. I say it's a fraud. Goes against common sense and common law. They take your children for not having vaccines. There's no law. They just do it. That's what I mean. It's a lawlessness. And I was on Drudge today looking at the Radar article. I linked over to it. And I told my webmasters, I said, you know, I don't even want to link to this. But I guess I'm going to tell Kurt to actually write an article about it. I mean, I was looking at this stuff, and I was like, really? This is the promos running on HBO? 5- and 6-year-old girls? I just... Michelle, one of the customer service people here at InfoWars, was here with her 3-year-old daughter this morning, brought her to work with her. And, of course, I've known her since she was born. Very, very sweet. I know her older daughter, who I guess who's 9 years old now. And it was a year and a half ago or so that her story of flying back into Austin from Denver and how they had a big pot-bellied man come over and before she even knew what was going on, start trying to go in her 8-year-old daughter's pants at the time. I guess 7.5 at the time. And she said, no, no, no. And they said, oh, yes, we'll get a woman to do it. Oh, like it's okay. I mean, let me tell you, when I was flying back from Las Vegas from doing a video shoot, and they sent over a man, it made it even worse that it was, you know. And I just said, do not touch me down there. I'm going to sue you. And he didn't. He said the fake frisk. Again, the idea that I'm guilty until proven slave. Guilty until proven slave of Goldman Sachs under the Goldman Sachs dictatorship. I mean, that's what we're under. Even Economist Magazine and Financial Times of London admit Europe is under a Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan dictatorship of fraud. Getting Europe to sign on to their debt and then destroying their economies by design. I mean, Greece is war in the streets, people dumping their kids out at government buildings, cholera, other diseases, malaria has showed back up, hadn't been there in hundreds of years. I mean, it's collapse. You're like, why do the bankers want that? They want to make money. No, they don't. They print the money. They want to implode that country and buy it up and make everybody poor as a weapon of control. It's their nature. They're nasty, evil people. It's why they're in control, because they're ruthless. All right, continuing here, and I'm going to go to break and come back with your calls. In the long segment coming up. Because I digress. Seeing her little daughter in here, so innocent. And I think about how innocent my children are. And how I have to keep them away from television. Even, you know, Christian friends and people, I can't really send them over to be at people's houses if they watch television at all because of what's on it. I can't even really let them go to my parents and watch a football game because of the ads. You're like, oh, come on, it's not a big deal. My parents aren't, but other people are like, I can't be in a pizza place with my children with the TV on, with the stuff that's there now. HBO is coming out with a primetime show called Angry Boys that shows little girls who are so innocent and so good with giant sex toys sucking on them. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? This is what they put on television. It shows giant cups that are the shapes of men's genitals. And this is what they do. And I can't even get into the rest of it here on air. It gets worse. On adult radio, and it's such a crime. This is attacking innocence. That's what the sex ed is. They're not trying to teach in public schools worldwide under UN standardization. It's all UNESCO. It's the same from Australia to the US, from Germany to Denmark. It's global standardization. They don't teach you, hey, if you have sex, you can catch these diseases like they tell you they do. No. It was all about how to have sex. And I'll tell you, when I was sitting there in middle school with sex education, all it was making me do is look over at the girl next to me and her look over at me. All it was doing was sexualizing and destroying innocence. of people in the 6th grade. But now they've got it down to first graders, and it's all been covered. And they say, oh, you're just being homophobic. Hey, I don't care if it was homosexual, heterosexual, whatever it is. You don't teach children, period. 5, 6, 7-year-olds. Heather has 2 mommies. You know, Billy has 2 daddies, all this. This is what they teach children. And then they teach them stuff that I didn't even know about sexually until I was in college. Stuff I've never even heard of as an adult. They teach children, and now you watch everything on television. It's anti-male, it's wussification, women run everything, it's degeneracy, everything's a joke. They're turning us into animals that can't resist, and all the violence, it desensitizes people. The studies show it. People can't differentiate all the simulated murders and video games and television with the real thing. So it's like, oh, where'd the neighbor go? Oh, they arrested him. Oh, yeah, they killed the neighbor. He's dead. They burned his house down. He wouldn't give it to the feds for a green zone. And then reporters show up and try to walk into city council. They go, no, you're not allowed to come in a public building. There's no law. We got guns. Why don't you go watch HBO where they take 6-year-old girls? I mean, folks, these are little bitty innocent girls. It makes me feel very violent. I'm going to be honest with people. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds? I'm going to go to your calls here in just a moment, and later I'm going to get into this. But it is so over the top. But see, soon it won't be. They just always take a little more until in the United States, on cable TV, they have children doing things that, according to federal law, are illegal. They've tried to pass laws that I believe are unconstitutional, even though I do find these practices disgusting and distasteful, of drawings of underage sex. And there's a reason cultures have all gone after people that mess with children. A, it's unnatural. B, it's predatory. It's preying on the most defenseless and the heart of humanity. This war on children, all these sitcoms and dramas act like it's terrible to have children. You'll get some empty, mindless yuppie come up and laugh at you. I've had it in grocery stores for having 3 children. People that I know that have 5 or 6 get harassed. Because these people, it's their religion, that television's their friend, those messages on TV are their friend, and they have this gibbering disdain in their false reality for those of us that actually are part of the human race and part of consciousness and part of reality. And so, demonize men, demonize the family, demonize people that are straight. See, it's not just, oh, don't attack people that are into alternative lifestyles. No, it's attack people that are straight. One time I got invited to someone's birthday party, and that person was gay. And again, I don't dislike people that are gay. And I go to the party, and I'm there with my wife, and probably half the people that were there were you know, that sexual preference. I was just, just trying to be nice, fine, whatever. I don't care. I'm not obsessed with it. It's not like something I'm, just my whole life is about obsessing about like the media does and just pushing it constantly. And I probably had 10 people out of 40 or so at the thing go, ooh, you've got kids, ooh. And it's just like, well, I didn't even bring my kids up. Oh, diapers, gross. And I'm just like, come on, wife, let's just get out of here. It's just like, I don't need to hear how I'm bad all day, okay? And that's what this is about, going into the schools, going into the cultures, and pushing this on people. Because it's not just the sexual act. And I'm not saying everybody that's involved in that's doing that. I'm saying it's the politicization and this agenda, and it's like a gang. But it's not just a gang into sexual preferences or whatever. It's the whole deal. Germany passes laws, no new single-family homes by 2020. Huge fines and fees if you have them now. You will live in communal dorms. That's what the Mao Zedong tried, and it killed, the Chinese say, 86 million. The CIA says 64 million. You can look it up. There's a debate. 60-something, 80-something mil, whatever. I mean, folks, they killed tens of millions of people trying this. The globalists say, if we can ever end the normal human cycle and create an artificial one, we've won. It's a revolution against humanity and our basic system by control freaks that want to play God. And where does communism come from? It comes from the Jacobins and other Illuminati groups. I mean, mainline history books. Illuminati, Jacobins, France, French Revolution. This is real history. George Washington wrote and spoke on this. Okay? I mean, this is history. After our revolution, they have their own. And let me tell you, it was pure Illuminati. Totally different than ours. Fashioning itself off what George Washington did on the surface, but beneath the surface, they tried to go to a 9-day week. They tried to change the seasons. They tried to end families. They tried to, oh yes. Marx and Engels didn't write the Communist Manifesto. That had all been pushed under other names. The Rothschilds openly financed it all. They financed the Jacobins. And it was not about overthrowing the church and kicking out the monarchy. It was about overthrowing humanity and making themselves God. And by the 1850s, they'd hired most of the top scientists to come up with plans to totally take over society and re-engineer it. And that's what this is. And now California is set to pass a bill, just like the one they passed last year, to forcibly inoculate your children without your knowledge. I mean, that is total assault. That is totally illegal. That is, I don't care if you pass a law. I mean, that is tyranny. It isn't just going to stop with highway checkpoints and hands down the pants. It's not going to just stop with inoculations of your children. It got thrown out of federal court 3 years ago, but California lower courts ruled the parents are no longer the guardians, and when your child is in public school, that you cease to be the guardian and the state is now the guardian, even when your child's out of school. And that homeschooling is illegal because parents are not allowed to be guardians. And it did get overthrown. It did get overturned. But I'm telling you, man, look, these people are hardcore scientific authoritarians. And they mean business. Now, they've got armies of pedophiles that work for them because they're given access to children. They've got other criminal groups. They've got different brigades of different types of crime groups that they can destroy whenever they want, that they can blackmail, who are given access. You want drugs, you want money, you want power, you want to torture people, you want to rape children. They've got different brigades, but their strongest brigade is the potbelly pedophile brigade. And it's just an archetype. It's a potbelly pedophile brigade. Or the butch pedophile sadomasochistic torture brigade. They've got that brigade. They've got the mercenary brigades. They've got the torture brigades. They've got the control freak brigades. They've got the Dudley Do-Right danger brigades who actually think they're doing good and are so stupid they just worship authority. That's another dangerous brigade we face. And it's a psych warfare thing on HBO. I mean, I don't even watch mainline television. Anytime my wife watches it, she's just like, my gosh, it's all anti-family. It's all get abortions, kill babies, world government, take vaccines, arrest those that don't. And cops watch TV where they arrest people who don't take vaccines in dramas. There's no law, but then they simulate it. So when they're taking your kid, they're like, well, I mean, the sitcoms, the dramas. Folks, I'm talking over the years, we've identified dozens and dozens of cases on shows without even looking where they take kids for not taking vaccines. And so it must be in hundreds. I mean, the point is they simulate and show you things that aren't real, and then everyone follows it. This is called mind control. This is mind control. They've got 110,000 plus U.S. active duty combat on psychotropics that they know is causing them to kill people and their families, and epidemics of suicides. The drug inserts they give troops for being depressed says will cause suicide. Can cause suicide. I mean, that's what I mean. It's like children on HBO with giant sexual organ toys with candy and drinks in them with the children. I mean, it is so sick, man. This is how pedophiles get kids in cars, is with candy. And they've got kids with candy and soft drinks drinking it out of giant artificial male sex organs. I just, and again, it's going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. This is a total assault on humanity. And then I read the media, and they're like making fun of conservative and Christian groups that think this is bad. And I'm telling you, folks, you know, I don't want violence in this country. I've done everything I can to try to stop it and try to turn things back. But do not try to come and give my children inoculations secretly, or if they were in a government training camp. And they want to bankrupt the economy, which they've done, so you basically have to have them in there. The, quote, free education paid for with the property tax that turned us all into renters on our own property. We didn't have that until 60 years ago. Churches weren't 501c3 until 60 years ago or so. It's a total overthrow of everything. But do not get around my children, you pedophiles, and don't try to shoot anybody up. Let me tell you, you think you're all dug in and you know you're starting to fight with us, so the cops are all in body armor and armored vehicles? That's not going to mean anything when you mess with people's kids, okay? And you enforcers out there need to decide what side you're on, man, because it could not be clearer how ridiculous this is. I don't think we have HBO on our dish network out in the country, and we don't even really use it. We should just cancel it. It's incredibly clear. It's nice HD. It's good to watch science programs with my kids, but that's always got some anti-human brainwashing in it. Everyone should dump HBO. I mean, in fact, I'm calling for a boycott of it right now, but that's not enough. They should, I don't care if they say it's a comedy show. They have real children who they got their parents, I guess, who want to be stars or whatever, and stuck them in this, and they need to be arrested, okay? They were trying to train children and desensitize them and associate candy with, they are ruining these. This is illegal. 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 And I just, again, they're pushing us. They want the fight. They want the fight. And, you know, once the fight starts, it's going to be indiscriminate. Because let me tell you something. You either better join the Republic if this thing goes physical, or you better get ready for punishment and judgment. That's all I can say. Because let me tell you, you're a part of this system. When all this stuff goes down, all the bankers sit offshore, because they're not going to stop. The crimes this system commits against us. All right, I said I'd take calls. I'll take calls for about 40 minutes. I'll try to shut up. And then I'll get into all the other news. I haven't even got into it yet. Huge earthquakes increasing. I've got the numbers. Big economy news, big high-tech news, North Korea news. I didn't even cover this yesterday. It's such big news. The Washington Post came out and admitted that Bilderberg is choosing vice presidential candidates. So they've gone from saying it doesn't exist in the Washington Post for 60-plus years, being at all the Bilderberg meetings, the Graham family, and saying it didn't exist, to now just admitting that they choose VPs. See, they're coming out in the open. Yeah, Bilderberg runs things. And yeah, we're going to teach kids that pedophiles can have their way with them. I mean, it's just like, what? Yeah, world government's taking over. Yeah, we took that guy's land for a 1021. He's dead now. And don't try to go in the city council building. So, it's a psyop to just totally blow us away. And it's not having that effect on me. You got to do a banner hang. You got to write websites on the Federal Reserve money. You've got to get a bullhorn out today. You've got to do whatever you got. You got to make a splash in a peaceful but aggressive way. Because the inability to make some sacrifices now, there was some other report about a cop getting attacked by some guy and shot, and people watched the fight go on for like 10 minutes. It didn't help the police officer. And that's because people see the police now as not their friends, even though in most cases that's not the case. The system hasn't fully warped the police yet on average. That's why they're trying to create the TSA as this new whole cloth thing, you know, where they have no training and just do one thing, follow orders. But I see it everywhere now where people are raped in broad daylight, hurt run over in front of hundreds of people. No one helps them. And it's because they've turned people into just these spectating, emasculated, wussified little jellyfish creatures who just bumble around like mole rats or something on parade. Simply put, evil has been released into the world at a level never before seen. And, and I can feel it and I can see it intellectually. We're about to take the plunge. And I'm going to tell you again, ladies and gentlemen, appeasing this is not going to make your life get better, okay? America had half the wealth in the world, was 5% of the population, not because we were perfect, but because our forebears were mean and aggressive and independent and would not be pushed around and would rather die than be a slave. And so we bathed in wealth and power. And so we became the center of the New World Order because it took us over knowing it was the engine. And now we are rotting. America is a rotting corpse of the old republic. And people are now seeing the maggots spill out, and the guts are all blown up and swollen, and the stench, and the global banker vultures are eating our flesh. But a republic is not an individual. It's an idea. It's a system. It can rise again. All right, that's enough. Robert in Texas, you're on the air. First caller of the day. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on. First off, I'm pretty sure that missile that North Korea launched was shot down. I'd be willing to bet that somebody shot it down with a laser.
Yeah, they got lasers. They can have C-130s, 50 miles away and do it. They've also got mirror refractors on the satellites. And I meant to say that I've talked to some of the people involved in Star Wars, and every time North Korea tries to shoot one, it now blows off shortly after it leaves the tarmac.
Well, I have a pretty good source from ex-Department of Energy who tells me that we got stuff that makes all conventional weaponry out there obsolete. So
and again, the bankers have that. Yeah, they have particle beams, but just the chemical lasers they admit they have on drones and in those DC-10s are amazing.
Well, once they roll it out and tell people about it, then you can pretty much bet it's in itself obsolete and there's something better that
it's at least 50 years old. Yeah, chemical lasers on aircraft is at least from the 1950s. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, if you are in South Central Texas area, there's a Freedom Bash coming up to support We Are Change. It's at the Happy Cow in New Braunfels. I have the address and the map for it.
Very exciting. Okay, give us the website. Okay, what's the website?
It's on funkmaster5.com. The map and the address there. Come support We Are Change. There's live music, food, and beer. Very
exciting. That sounds evil, though. They may have to send some FBI agents to that. People congregating, wanting to get America back, and We Are Change exposing Al Gore. This is horrible. This is extreme. This is terrible. But the media says it's okay to show 5- and 6-year-old girls engaging in simulated sex acts. And man, I go to the mall every once in a while and I see billboards, and it's looks like 10-year-olds half naked with these different clothing lines, and I'm like, man, I like their clothes. I can't buy this now. I mean, it's so, they know if they can get you, if they can screw you up. First, they tell you there is no morals. That's a big lie, ladies and gentlemen. There's basic code of what makes society successful. And the thing is, we're going to break. I'm going to come back with more calls. We're going to go to KJ, Joseph, Fred, Mike, and others. And NASA says they've proven life on Mars. You know, what he just mentioned, you know, the advanced technologies. That's why the elites are so crazy. And now they're just trying to dumb us down and get us addled and confused to the point where we won't organize resistance when they release a genetically engineered bioweapon that will kill over 90% of us. They're just getting us ready to kill us. I hope you know that. Just briefly, if you want the best gravity-fed filter system that we found anywhere, it's ProPure. And we promote it and sell it at Infowars.com. Stacked up against the leading competition, there is no comparison. It is heads above the rest. It's just an excellent system. We've got all 4 of the systems available at Infowars.com. We already have it discounted at the lowest price anywhere. Check it out for yourself for ProPure at Infowars.com. But on top of that, for a limited time, we have 10% off special. You just put in the promo code WATER at checkout. and it takes 10% off all the water filtration systems at Infowars.com. Get the 10% off right now at Infowars.com in the shopping cart area. And you can also call 888-253-3139 here at our office, and your purchase also makes this broadcast possible. But it's an amazing filtration system. I know we've got it on the RV. They've got the little portable one. It's just a bunch of systems. Check them out today. ProPure, discounted at Infowars.com. The name in gravity filtration systems. Let's talk to KJ in Georgia. You're on the air. Thank you for holding.
Alex, this is KJ coming at you from FEMA Sector 4. How are you today, sir?
Good. Alex Jones from FEMA Sector 6.
Alex, I'm calling you because down here, myself and my fellow Info Warriors, we're launching a massive offensive against the New World Order on Sunday, April 15th.
Good.
Our target is the NDAA and Senator Chip Rogers. He's our state senator from our district. He's having a town hall meeting at the Woodstock Public Library on Sunday, April 15th at 2 o'clock. And I'm calling to get this message out to all the fellow InfoWars out there who are kind of local. Hopefully you can come out and join us. So basically, Senator Chip Rogers, like every other GOP senator in red states and really across the country, he's faced with a big upswell of liberty-minded folks who are in the GOP who are really changing the complexion of the party. And so he has been busy trying to co-opt that movement while still trying to play patty cakes and, you know, keep doing the hokey-pokey with the establishment. Now, so far, he's been paying us a lot of lip service. He's been patting us on the head, shaking our hands. I've been going to these town hall meetings, but he hasn't really been introducing any great legislation. I'll give you an example of some of the legislation he introduced this year that he has on his website bragging about. He did introduce NASCAR license plates. Now we can have NASCAR license plates in Georgia, so, you know, we're very happy about those. And he also introduced an internet sales tax, or he didn't introduce that, I'm sorry, but he voted for it, and he did support it. It passed out of his Senate. And now also we're going to pay a tax on used car sales. So private used car sales are going to be taxed here in Georgia. So we've got some great things, great victories for liberty. Of course, I'm being facetious. But right now I've got a group of probably about 25 people strong. We're going to go out to this town hall meeting, and we're really going to make our presence felt. We're going to demand...
Good, and everybody else needs to do similar things. Good to hear from you. Great job, KJ. Let's jam in another one here. Let's go ahead and talk to Mike in New York. Mike, you're on the air.
Alex, I'm so glad you take this call. I tried to call earlier in the week about your Easter agenda, but this is a call on necessity. Before I get to that, I just mentioned maybe your friend Charlie Sheen. You've heard of a movie, 1988, The Last Temptation of Christ, Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, it's a work of fiction, yeah.
Work of fiction, maybe, yeah. It's a powerful movie.
And
anyway.
again, I've known Charlie Sheen for about 8 years. I don't endorse some of the problems he's had, but he's a good guy at heart. Specifically, what's going on with Charlie Sheen?
Nothing more about Charlie Sheen. It's my own predicament. It started a couple years ago, a problem with gardening. I've grown my own vegetables.
Wait a minute, you're not one of those Americans that thinks you can have a garden. Whoa! Whoa, stay there. If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the InfoWars store at Infowars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe InfoWars t-shirts. We've got the incredible ProPure gravity-fed filters available at Infowars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there, wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens, it's all there. Infowars.com. I just realized it's Friday the 13th. Seems like just last week we had a Friday the 13th, but I guess that was last year. And it's a fitting Friday the 13th as we go into the weekend, and you have the tribute that's paid yearly to the private collection agency. It has governmental power, but it collects money for the private Federal Reserve. So the collection agency for the private Federal Reserve. None of the money goes to run the country. It goes to siphon off the economy to the foreign mega banks and to pay for the interest that we pay the private banks to be able to even have money. Notice that money in your wallet says Federal Reserve note, not U.S. note. And in that is the heart of the globalist total control over society, at least the level of economics. And they're trying to mop up the few little areas of resistance now. Anybody with their own swap meet or garage sale or selling vegetables or fruits on the side of the street. It is really amazing to watch the environmental police fanning out, harassing the population. We're going to have open phones today. Open phones throughout the full 3 hours. 3 million listeners and viewers here on the radio show. But if you missed it, it's one of the better research pieces we've done. Aaron put about a week's work of work into it. And it is out there for everybody to see, but we'll be talking about that. Also, record numbers of earthquakes taking place. I'm going to break that down early in the hour. Gold resumes surge as new QE rumor is back. North Korea, the Stalinist state, couldn't get their precious little rocket. They're trying to menace everyone off the ground with that child dictator piece of trash over there. More government scum I'm supposed to worship. He's got a fancy hat with badges. I mean, I need to bow down to him. It is Friday the 13th, 2012, and we're going to be live here for the next 3 hours. I will be back this Sunday, 4 to... And so I will give you the toll-free number to join us after the break, and you are welcomed and encouraged to join us on any of the issues that are out there, on any of the different big developments that are unfolding. And I will briefly get into some of those big stories on the other side. The Washington Post and the Daily Mail and others are reporting that Viking robot found life on Mars in 1976. They've now tested what they believe were bacteria for the last 3 decades. I guess that's 36 years, technically. And they are now saying they're 99% sure that it is primitive bacteria. Now, the problem is this is coming from a government that has been caught lying so much, you can't believe a word comes out of their mouth. This could be fiction like Barzoom, you know, the guy that wrote the Tarzan, King of the Apes books, also wrote the John Carter books and other really good fiction. And you know, is this just more fiction, or are there floating cities on Barzoom? Undoubtedly, Mars has water. It has a northern and southern ice cap. And undoubtedly, Martian rocks do rain down on the Earth that when larger meteors hit Mars. And a lot of scientists believe in the theory of space seeding for life. That's what my little video piece, Secrets of Prometheus, leaked is about. It's about the elite believing that space aliens or gods created the planet. Doesn't mean I believe that. I'm saying that's what the Illuminati's deepest belief is. That's why I made that video that has 400,000 views. Then we also aired